A phone alarm goes off at 5:47 a.m. You reach for it in the dark. The screen is cracked at the corner from a drop 2 winters ago. You swipe the alarm off and lie still for a moment, listening to a radiator tick in a studio apartment where the bedroom and the kitchen share the same 4 walls. You sit up. The mattress is on the floor. The bed frame never came. You walk to the kitchen counter, which is 3 steps from the bed. You open a coffee tin. It is nearly empty. You measure out the last scoop. The grinder broke last year, so the coffee is whatever the bag gave you the day you bought it. You pull a shirt from a drying rack in the corner. The dryer costs $6 per load, so you stopped using it a year ago. The fridge holds eggs, a half stick of butter, a wilted bag of spinach, 2 ketchup packets from a burger place, and a pitcher of water. You put your bus pass in your back pocket. The car is in the shop. It has been in the shop for 9 days, and the estimate has gone up twice. On the bus, your phone sits on low brightness to save battery. A coworker texts you about lunch. You say you packed something. You did not pack something. At noon, you walk to the gas station and look at the shelf of protein bars. You put one in your hand. You put it back. You buy a coffee instead because coffee costs less than food. At this level, nothing in the apartment tells a story you chose. The coffee tin. The drying rack. The bus pass. The empty fridge. These are the things visible in the room. Notice what is not in the room. A second pillow. A real chair. A bottle of anything stronger than water. A picture on the wall. At this level, the day begins with subtraction. Every decision starts with the word no. No to breakfast. No to Uber. No to the haircut you need. No to the dentist. No to the wedding in October. And at night, you sleep with one leg outside the blanket, because the radiator has 2 settings, off and burning. The phone charges by the mattress. The screen light goes out. $187 sits in the bank. The day resets. The counting starts again. 18 months later, a different alarm. The phone is the same phone, but the screen crack has not grown. You fixed it with a cheap repair last spring. The apartment is the same studio. On the counter, something new. A coffee maker. A $10 drip model from a big box store. Next to it, a fresh bag of store-brand coffee, not the bottom shelf, but the one above. The fridge has more than before. A carton of eggs. A block of cheese. A bag of carrots. A bottle of olive oil. 1 step above the cheapest. Yogurt. A bag of frozen vegetables. You pack a lunch in a plastic container. A rice bowl from last night. You hold the container and realize something. You have not bought lunch from a gas station in 7 months. You walk to the bus. The car is out of the shop. It runs. You drive it less to save gas. The bus is still a habit. At work, the lunch sits in your bag. At noon, you eat it at your desk. The savings from packing lunch, multiplied across a year, moved your balance from $420 to $11,000. Here, the day begins differently. The coffee is yours. The lunch is yours. The hour at noon is yours. At this level, the apartment still tells a small story. But new things appear. A used armchair from a thrift store. A lamp. A second pillow. Notice what is not in the room. Credit card bills stacked on the counter. Missed call notifications from a debt collector. The blank wall above the bed. The debt is still there. But the arrow points the other way now. At night, you cook rice and eggs, the same meal as before. But a teaspoon of hot sauce goes on top now. A small luxury. A small signal. You check the balance one time at the end of the week. You do not refresh it. The sleep is deeper. The counting has stopped. Why 4 years later? A 1-bedroom apartment with a window that faces something green. The coffee maker is better now. A proper burr grinder sits next to it. Beans from a local roaster. You drink it slowly because you have 10 minutes before the first meeting. The fridge holds good yogurt, decent cheese, a bottle of wine under $25, oat milk, and fresh vegetables. A calendar on the door marks a birthday, a dentist appointment, and a weekend trip. Your car runs. The brakes were replaced last spring. Insurance is paid on autopilot. The registration sticker is current. You work from home 2 days a week. The other 3, you commute to an office where people know your name. Your salary is not the highest in the room, but you no longer check your direct deposit email on deposit day. It arrives. It sits. Some of it leaves automatically for investments you set up a year ago. At this level, lunch is at a cafe 3 times a week. You order the salad with the add-on. You do not think about the price. Here, the day begins differently. The choice of what to eat, what to wear, and where to sit has left the math. You spend based on mood, not balance. Notice what is not in the room. A sense of scarcity. A voice at the back of the head doing arithmetic. A list of things you have given up. At night, groceries arrive through a delivery app you finally signed up for. You cook because you enjoy it, not because the math demands it. The balance reads $112,000. You check it on a Sunday. You close the app. You watch a movie on a streaming account that is yours. At this level, comfort is the shift. Not wealth, comfort. 7 years in. You bought a house, not a big one. A small 3-bedroom on a block where the neighbors wave. The kitchen has an espresso machine, the kind with a steam wand. A Peloton sits in the 2nd bedroom, used 3 times a week. The fridge is bigger. A second fridge lives in the garage for drinks. Our calendar is different. Appointments, not reminders. A financial advisor sends a quarterly email. A CPA handles taxes in March. A financial plan sits in a folder on the desktop, updated every April. At work, you lead the team, or you run a small business from the 2nd bedroom. Either way, you are no longer the person running to catch the bus. You drive a newer car, not the most expensive on the block, the one that fits your life. You paid it off in cash. At noon, lunch happens with clients or with a partner. The meals are nice. You do not look at the menu price. Here, the day begins differently. A workout before the first meeting. A call with a partner on the way to the office. A calendar that belongs to you, not to a boss. Notice what is not in the room. A commute you hate. A boss who approves your time off. A ceiling on your earnings. At this level, the shift is a choice. You chose the house, the car, the schedule, the job. Not all of it was perfect, but none of it was forced. The balance crosses $500,000. You stop telling friends. At night, dinner is cooked at home. A glass of wine from a bottle you picked because you liked the label, not because it was on sale. You sleep with the window open. 10 years in, the house is larger now, not loud, larger. The garage holds 2 cars. A walk-in closet holds clothes you have owned for 5 years and clothes you bought last month. The kitchen has a chef's stove. The fridge restocks itself through a grocery service which knows your preferences. A dog walker comes at 10 a.m., a cleaner comes on Wednesdays, a trainer comes on Saturdays. The calendar is managed by an assistant who works part-time. A tax planner calls before 9 a.m. once a quarter. A lawyer is on retainer for business matters you once handled alone. Your car is a nicer one now. A driver sometimes takes you to the airport. You fly business class, not because you wanted to feel important, but because the back of the plane costs your time, and your time has a different price now. At this level, lunch happens at a place where the host knows your name. The menu has no prices on the copy they hand you. Your order arrives without you asking. Here, the day begins differently. Someone else handles the small things. Your attention belongs to bigger things. Notice what is not in the room, worry about next month, the old furniture, the friends who used to call every week. At night, dinner happens with 4 or 5 people. 3 of them own things, 1 of them runs a fund. 1 of them is an old friend who quietly followed you here. The balance crosses $3 million. You stop checking it often. A dashboard checks it for you. The shift at this level is ownership. You are no longer paid, you are owed. 15 years in, the house does not look loud from the street. Hedges line the driveway. A gate opens with a fingerprint. A chef arrives at 6 a.m. Coffee appears without you asking. A breakfast of 3 choices sits on the counter when you walk in. Your closet is organized by season. Your suits are tailored. A tailor comes to the house twice a year. A head of household staff runs a team of 12. A family office runs the money. A lawyer handles the public side. An accountant handles the private side. Your car is one of several. You rarely drive. Meetings come to you. Flights come to you. A private terminal takes 15 minutes instead of 3 hours. Here, the day begins differently. The schedule is soft in the morning, you read. You walk, you think. The urgent things are handled by people who are paid to handle them. Notice what is not in the room: a laptop open at 11 p.m., a phone is ringing at dinner, a calendar you did not approve. At this level, the shift is operational, the money runs itself, you run the money's direction, you make 3 or 4 decisions a week that move more than most people earn in a decade. At night, dinner happens in a dining room that seats 12. Sometimes 4 come. Sometimes none come. The silence is not painful here. It is earned. The balance is not a number anymore. It is a structure, trusts, holdings, entities, a map of ownership spread across a continent. 20 years in, the net worth crosses 100 million. The house is one of several, one in the city, one on a lake, one by the ocean. A small staff lives at each. You arrive, and the fridge is already full. You wake up slowly. A window looks out at water, which does not belong to any neighbor because there are no neighbors within sight. Your time is owned by almost no one. A board meets quarterly. A foundation runs the part of the money that went to philanthropy. A legal team handles a lawsuit you did not know was filed. Your signature on a page moves a market. You did not write the page. You read a summary. Here, the day begins differently. No alarms, no urgent notifications, no meetings before 10 a.m. unless you choose them. Notice what is not in the room: a sense of needing anything, a hunger for more, a feeling of catching up. At this level, the shift is vanishing. Life becomes more invisible, not louder. The car has no logos. The clothes have no visible labels. The phone has no public number. At night, dinner is sometimes for 5 people, sometimes 1. A chef cooks a meal that would have felt unreal to the person on the mattress 20 years ago. You eat slowly. The children, if there are children, grow up in a world you did not grow up in. They have never put olive oil back on a shelf. You wonder what the absence gives them. You wonder what it takes. 30 years in. A number past 1 billion. At this level, the money is no longer yours. It belongs to a name. The name belongs to generations. A family office manages the estate. A chief of staff manages the family office. A board of trustees oversees the chief of staff. 3 lawyers handle the trusts. 2 firms handle the philanthropy. You do not check a balance. You do not know the current number. The number lives on a spreadsheet which 5 people read, and none of them is you. Your schedule is quiet. A trainer, a doctor, a reader, a driver, a pilot, a chef. Each arrives without being asked. The house operates like a small hotel in which you are the only resident. Here, the day begins differently. You wake without an alarm. You read something old. You walk a path on a property that has a name. You look at a horizon that has not changed in 80 years. Notice what is not in the room: anything public, anything advertised, anything that someone without clearance has seen. At this level, the shift is legacy. The money has outgrown the person. The name has outgrown the face. Your grandchildren, if there are grandchildren, carry a last name that opens doors in rooms they have never walked into. They never counted out the last scoop of coffee. They have never looked at a price on a shelf. They have never taken a bus because the car was in the shop. You wonder, in a quiet moment, what the absence gives them. You wonder what it takes. At night, dinner is served in a room that has hosted 4 presidents. The chairs are old. The table is older. The silverware is marked with a letter that belongs to the family. And still, the weight sits somewhere, not in the bank. In the name, money has become history. Somewhere, at the top of the ladder, a person stands in a quiet room. The room has almost nothing in it: a chair, a book, a window. Outside, the sun comes up over the water. The phone sits face down on a table. The balance is unreachable from this room, and the person prefers it this way. And in a smaller room, across a city, on a different floor, in a different life. An alarm goes off at 5:47 a.m. A cracked phone lights up. A near-empty coffee tin opens. A shirt comes off a drying rack. A bus pass slides into a back pocket. $187 sits in the bank. The apartment tells a story. The coffee tin, the drying rack, the bus pass, the empty fridge, a life made of subtraction. But the climb has already started. The levels are waiting. And what your life looks like at each one, you already know.